Hey everyone, today I decided to learn Raylib, a very popular library for game dev using C. So I started by actually setting up Raylib. Unlike Pygame, you need some files to be included in your project folder in order for Raylib to work. So I just copied this folder into my project folder and started working. So what I did first was actually watch a tutorial on how to actually write a code to make a screen or what. So I watched one tutorial by this guy. That tutorial was really good, and so I started to create my own. And this was my first script. And if you know Raylib, you could probably guess out what went wrong here. When I run the script, a window popped up that I really expected, but yeah, I when I tried to close the window, it just didn't close. The problem is pretty easy to solve. Basically, I forgot to call these two functions, and those are really important. You gotta call them, and I really didn't know that. So anyway, I fixed all that stuff, and then I had a window running. What I did next was actually to create a rectangle on the screen, and in Raylib that is really easy to do. To create a rectangle, it's pretty simple in Raylib. All you gotta do is call this function and then pass in 5 arguments. Basically your x coordinate, y coordinate, and the width and breadth, and also the color, and there you have it. We have a rectangle on the screen. So I played around with it. I moved it around a bit. So I was just learning about key presses and everything. It was all going really well. So the next step I did was actually to create a struct for the player, and this struct contains two things: the x position and the y position of the player. So I did that, and I forgot to tell you, I am going to make a game basically inspired from Google. So you know that game where your internet sometimes blow up, and you can play this game. So that's what I'm going to make today. I started by creating a struct. You see, in this game the exposition really doesn't matter because the player is moving up and down. So the exposition really doesn't do anything, so I decided to remove that. But then if I remove that, then there will be like only y position in the struct, so I decided to delete the struct also. The first thing I did was actually to move the player down. So basically update the y coordinate, and now the player is moving down, of course, but it's moving with a constant velocity. Alright, so now it was time for me to actually implement the gravity. And I tried to be sort of I tried a little weird method. So basically what I did was I actually called this function called getTime function, and basically multiplied that with a constant. So basically I used this equation, and that really didn't work out so well. When I implemented that, the player really moved down. It is accelerating, but then once it hits the ground, well, the velocity continued to blow up, and we don't really want that. So then I had to delete all that stuff, and basically created a velocity variable, and then increase that velocity variable with that gravity, and then I basically incremented with the velocity to the player's y position, and that really gives us a lot more control over the stuff. So yeah, that really worked well, and it was time for the next step. So after I had implemented all the velocity things, velocity variable stuff, I sort of focused on implementing the ability to jump. So that was pretty straightforward. I just put the velocity to a negative value, and that really worked. So then the next thing I did was actually play around with that velocity. So I tried many values, and it all pretty worked well actually. But then thing about jumping is in game you have this problem of double jumping. So in order to avoid that, you need to check some more stuff before actually jumping. So what my plan was to allow the player to jump only if the velocity was 0, and you could literally figure out the problem with this, but I didn't really see it at the time, so I implemented that, but when I tested it, yeah, I immediately understood what was going on. So if you didn't understand that, well, let's say we have a player over here, and then let's say it's moving down, so the velocity just keeps on increasing, right? So let's say it hits the ground right now, and then I jump. Okay, so when it jumps, it has a negative velocity, so it moves up. So as it moves up, its velocity keeps on decreasing because of acceleration due to gravity, and so it hits there will be a point where the velocity is equal to 0. And so what we don't want the player to do is jump again. So basically, if we press the space bar when the velocity was 0, right here, the player will jump again. So we don't really want that because that's double jumping. So the thing I did was, well, I checked if the position of the player, the y coordinate of the player was 350, I think. And if the player is at 350, then you jump. So after that, I implemented the cactus to the game because we want something to jump around. So right now our cactus is a rectangle, of course, but I'll be making sprites for this game. So basically I started with a cactus and it moves to the left, and when it goes off the screen, it returned back to like, you can't really see it, but then it resets its position and goes on like that. And so after doing all that stuff, it was time for me to actually sort of implement point with this game, points, so that was also pretty simple. It was quite tricky, but still I managed to do it, and now we have a basic working game. Next step was all the fun stuff. So I started with this website called Pixel or Piskel, I guess. So basically this website allows you to make sprites for your games, and I made something, and I, like, to be honest with you, I'm really bad at making sprites. So you could literally guess out my level at this by watching me do all this stuff. It was quite difficult for me to figure out, and I really am not proud of this stuff. I may be able to do better, but still I haven't really done that before, and I actually had a second try. I was really not satisfied with this, and so I decided to do one more time, and I don't know. It's pretty bad, of course. Okay, anyways, after that I implemented Dino to the game, and the game was really coming together. And so after implementing the Dino to the game, I sort of focused on the cactus, and the same thing, I'm not great at pixel art, but still it looks pretty good, I guess. So I implemented that also, and the game is pretty much done. Then I worked on some sound effects for the game using this thing, this website called Beatbox Audio Mixer. It is a really great tool. So I'm still not into the sound making or something. I haven't done that before, but still Beatbox really made that a lot easier for me. Basically I created sounds, and then I'll actually play them for you right now. So those were the sounds, and implementing sounds was also really easy in Raylib. After actually making the sounds, I used this Kdenlive. This is the same software that I use for editing my videos. So I use that to actually trim the audio to what I want. And there we go, we have the game finished, and I hope you liked it. Well, this game was a lot of fun to make and also to play around. I learned a lot. So see you all next time.